Hello friends, it's Lisa and I'm back with a new video today. Today is all about the new product from Spectrum Noir, which is a crafter's companion company, and it's all about glitter ink. It's so cool. So they came out with these little pots filled with ink and glitter. Pretty simple, but super exciting. If you have ever used the Spectrum Noir sparkle markers, then the ink that is in this pot is the same ink that is in those markers. For the same price, you get about 10 times the ink, because apparently the expensive part of the sparkle marker is the actual marker. So here, instead of paying for the marker, you're just paying for more ink. So if you like the marker part of the sparkle markers, then go ahead and buy more of those. If you like the sparkle part of the sparkle markers, these are what you want to get. So I have 3 sets right now, so a total of 9 little pots. I ordered all of them, so I think there's 4 more sets coming, but they have not arrived yet. They haven't even shipped, so when I get those, I'll do another video showing you all the different colors and stuff. But I thought I'd go ahead and use these and show kind of how they work. I don't actually make any cards in this video, but I do take one of the panels and make a card, so keep an eye out. It should be out in the next week or 2. It turned out really cool. And I used the We Are Memory Keepers foil quill as well. So that video is really cool. What I'm doing here is just going through a few of my favorite water-based techniques. So this is a water-based product. It's kind of like watercolor with glitter in it. And I'm going to test out my favorite water techniques. So the first one is the smushing technique. A lot of times what you do is you take your ink pad and you smush it down on your work surface, and then you bring your paper to that. Instead of ink today, I'm just putting a little bit of these colors down. I put way too much purple a minute ago, so the purple kind of dominates. That is one thing I've found with these inks. Some colors are extremely vivid and really colorized. Some colors are not. So you just have to be aware of which color is super colorized and pigmented and will kind of take over, and which color is not, and you need to put a lot more of that down. So that is why it's really good to do swatches. I have not swatched this out. I like to test media out before I swatch it, because the swatching process takes some time and I want to know if I actually like this. This is definitely going into my stash, so it will be swatched. But I just haven't gotten to that. I might do that this weekend. So here I'm heat drying it. You can see the shimmer starting to come out. The glitter doesn't really look like anything when it's wet. Oh, you remember how I just noted some of the inks aren't as colorized or vibrant? Example A, this orange. It looks like it should be super vibrant, and I'm not sure why this one is so pale versus the blue and the pink that we're about to use, which are super colorized, but it's just the way that it is. You'll see that I open each one individually, shaking in between. You have to shake these really frequently. So see how colorized this one is, just a tiny dab, and it's like bam. Well, the orange was kind of like, you know, just something to note. You can add more orange, which will get you more color. Just something you need to know for later. So the shimmer, the glitter settles to the bottom of the jar. They have 2 little balls in there, agitators that help you when you shake it to agitate the glitter around and get it flowing throughout the whole ink, which is helpful and makes a nice fun click 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 noise when you shake it. You have to be careful when you are painting that you don't let it sit too long between shaking, because if you do, you won't be putting a lot of ink onto your paper. So what I've been doing here is just a basic wash where I'm moving from one paint color to another. I add just a little bit more of the orange, but I didn't show that. Otherwise, I heat dried that, and that is how it came out. When you're looking at it in person, you don't see that kind of wash or those brush strokes of pulling the blue down into pink. For some reason, the camera is just picking that up, but it's actually really not visible in person. Here I just wanted to show, I was playing around with some little stamps I'd colored out and cut out already, and I haven't made them into cards, but it's upcoming, so you'll see that. But I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like with such things on top of it. So I'm excited. That looks so cute. It really enhances the background. It's so sparkly. I love it. Even there you can see how much start to see how much sparkle is in these little pots. It's a lot. There is a lot of sparkle. If you are not a sparkle person, this is not the product for you. If you are a sparkle person, this is the product for you. And just so you know, I'm 98% certain that these are ink and not pigment watercolors. So the ink versus the pigment, ink is going, or I guess dye versus pigment, the dye is going to soak into your paper and actually dye the fibers. A pigment is going to dry and sit on top. It's just a different watercolor, different way that you watercolor. There's just a few small differences, but just so you know, this is what this product is a dye-based ink and not a pigment-based ink, which is fine and looks really cool. You can get some really cool results with dye-based ink. It just works a little bit differently than your pigment inks. So something good to know. I took one of my favorite stamps, which is this feather, and stamped it out twice. Now I'm going to try actually watercoloring with these. I shook up the two inks that I wanted to use and used a pipette to drop them into these little seashells. This is a little palette thing that I made this summer or last summer, a while ago, from some seashells that I picked up on the seashore. It has worked out pretty well. I want to make a new one that looks a little bit nicer, but I do really like the idea because you can drop just tiny bits of liquid watercolor into there and paint it. I have a lot of liquid watercolor. If you are not familiar with my channel, you can go back and see all about all the different liquid watercolors that are out in the market. So here we go with that. It's really simple, and the good thing about dropping those pipettes with just a few drops into these little seashells is that when I put my water brush into there, I can kind of swirl it around and get some of the ink and some of the sparkle. So that's definitely a key. If you want to watercolor with this, you're going to need to drop those drops either into a little palette like this, or if you have this glass mat or a glass mat, you can always drop it, do a couple drops onto your glass mat, and you'll have the same exact thing happen. if you're trying to watercolor directly out of the little pots, after a minute or two, the sparkle is going to be all settled to the bottom and you're not going to be getting as much sparkle. But for the pipette, you really only need one. I just use it, push as much ink as I can out back either into my little seashell or back into the pot, and then just clean it by going in and out of my water a couple times. So here I'm adding a couple new colors, and this is literally using the smallest drop I could, but it was still way more ink than I needed. So you can get, these inks go a long way, which is exciting, that you then don't have to worry about using the ink or not. So I decided to, this is actually embossed, stamped and embossed the image, so that's why the lines are resisting it. I used the Pearl Gold by Wow for this embossing powder. The next one is just white, the Ranger White embossing powder, and I'm just painting over top of that embossing because the embossing resists it and it looks really cool. So I'm excited to actually stamp out a scene or something like that that I can then watercolor with these. I'm also really excited about getting the rest of the colors because I made sure that I ended up with all three primary colors. So a blue, a magenta, and a yellow. The yellow is the only primary color I don't have right now. They also have a set of clear of this ink, which I'm also very excited to get, because then I'm going to try using my actual liquid watercolor and see if I can't sparkleize that, because why not, right? Add a ton more colors. And I just want to be clear, when I said magenta earlier for the primary colors, magenta technically is not the primary color, red is the primary color, but when you use magenta instead of red, and it's something that like you'll see in your printer, your home printer, they use magenta instead of red, that you get a lot more vivid results. So that pink that I used a little bit ago, I would consider a magenta, and I'll use that when I'm trying to mix some new colors. So I'll definitely video that if and when I get them. It's been about 2 weeks and they have not shipped, so I'm hoping it happens soon. But I just painted around that with the brown, and you saw that I got pretty good results. Since it is a dye-based ink, it's harder to make it smooth once it has dried into the paper. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. You'll want to keep your edges wet if you're trying to make a whole swath of color. Next, I'm taking the blue and pink and doing the same thing I just did, except for I don't paint around the feather this time. I really like the vivid colors that come in these pots. I just used the more dulled down colors, but even those were super pretty. I think they'll be really good for the fall when you're trying to make, oh, that'd be so pretty when you're trying to make leaves for fall, making really pretty leaves. That'll be awesome. But right now it's spring for me where I am, and I am excited about that because it has been a long winter. So getting into the spring spirit, and that's exciting. I actually just bought pillows for my couch, and my last one just arrived at Pier 1, and I looked at myself and I was like, I am an old lady now. I have bought decorative pillows for my couch, but they look super cute, so I'm excited. Anyway, I say that because it's very spring themed right now. I have one pillow that has a bicycle with flowers in it. It's so cute. But back to the card work I'm doing because you probably don't care about my super awesome decorating skills. We're looking at these awesome paints right now. So I am just mixing between the colors and adding in this really pretty purple and blue feather. You'll see that I kind of messed up the stamping embossing process. I missed a little bit of the detail right in the middle, but if and when I use this on a card, I'll just put something over because the rest of this looks really cute and not something worth throwing this away. So I haven't used it yet, but when I do, I'll definitely just put like the sentiment over that and nobody will ever know. Well, I guess you will all know, but whoever I send the card probably won't know. So now I'm picking some of the other colors and I'm just adding the little beads that go here. And that's about it. I'm going to show you one more of the backgrounds that I created just by creating a wash of color. This one is a little bit different colors, but I liked them so much in that feather that I decided to go ahead and use them here. So I think this one might actually be the one that's used in that upcoming card, and it's just as pretty. So I'm starting with this pink, and it is not the magenta I was just talking about. This is a slightly lighter color, and it is one of the mid-range inks where it's pretty vibrant but not quite as vibrant as some other colors. This blue is pretty vibrant, so you have to use just a little bit of it or it will overtake your whole paper. But even after these couple small tests, it felt like I hadn't actually used any of the ink, which is exciting because then you don't feel bad actually using your ink. I have a few more tests I want to do using this ink with some of my mixed media projects, and so as I do that, I'll definitely share that information with you. But this, I just wanted to show really what I was testing is, does it work for how it should work, right? Does it work for the things it should actually be doing? Next, I mixed in from the bottom this very light blue, and when I did the middle blue, which as I said, it was very vibrant, I didn't add a whole lot to begin with especially. Now I'm going back in with the pink to blend the pink into the blue. Then I'll blend the blue into the pink and into the lighter blue just to make sure that I get a good blend as well as very vibrant color. So like I said before, you really don't see the sparkle until it's dry. It's the first time I used it, which you saw earlier, I was a little worried because you really can't see the sparkle and you're like, the whole reason I bought these is because they sparkle. Where is the sparkle? But as soon as it dries, bam, there the sparkle is. And it's a very light sparkle. It is glitter in there, so you get a very vibrant sparkle. It's not mica, so you're not getting a pearlized look. You're getting a definite sparkle, but it's kind of like a Tinkerbell sparkle and not rock candy glitter. So, which is a good thing. Really, the sparkle is what you want. So I dried that piece, and here you can see how awesome it looks. Similar to this other piece, really when you're looking at it in person, you don't see so much of the striations, but I think the camera just picks that up a lot more than your eye does. I think because it could be because your eye is looking so much at the sparkle. Here are some photos where I was trying to grasp and show you how much sparkle there really is. If you kind of tilt it in the light, you can see all the sparkle, and when you tilt it, you don't, and then you tilt it back and you don't see as much, but it did turn out amazing. I really love all the different colors that I have now, and I'm super excited about the colors that are coming still. So as I get more of those and start using them in more projects, you'll definitely be seeing those again because I super enjoyed them. Here are those other 3 things that I tried. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, definitely hit subscribe. I have some really cool projects upcoming, and I hope you guys have an extra awesome day. Let me know in the comments below if you like these or are interested in seeing more, and I will see you guys in just a few days. Bye.